We all have our expectations for what the future of our civilization will look like, and we've held on to these ideas for decades. But maybe it's possible that the future will not look anything like you could ever imagine. From structures covered in forests to invisible buildings, on this episode of Built a Billion, we present to you 7 of the most impressive buildings and architectural techniques that will exist in the future. And stay till the end, because we saved the most futuristic design for last. If you love to hear about all the mega projects of the world, please subscribe to the channel and help us get to our goal of 500 subscribers. It will really help the channel out a lot. 3D printing. Companies are looking for ways to make home construction more cost efficient, and so it's very likely many buildings in the future will be 3D printed. Using this method, homes can be constructed in just days, as opposed to taking months to complete, and can be made from a large variety of materials with a special mortar that holds it all together. These houses can be made much cheaper than what we've been used to, and can dramatically reduce waste by using recycled materials and green energy. As time goes on, this technique will become more common and even cheaper, and ideally, we'll live in a world where we couldn't imagine a time when 3D printing wasn't possible. Cube houses. The cube houses were designed by architect Piet Blom and are a series of 18 houses in Rotterdam, Netherlands. The idea came from taking a normal cube-shaped home and tilting it 45 degrees and supporting them with hexagonal-shaped structures beneath. The houses are said to be its own type of forest, where each structure acts as a tree and create a sense of peace among those who live there. Each house has 3 floors, and the interior consists of slanted floors that make for a weird effect that I would imagine is an acquired taste. As far as the future goes, these cube houses are a great example of a trend that takes what is normal and reinvents it completely. As time goes on, we are sure to see many projects that accomplish this in the future. Rotating skyscraper. When you picture a skyscraper, you picture an immovable object with a fixed view, right? But what if I told you there was a new type of skyscraper concept in Dubai that could completely change the trajectory of tall buildings in the future? I'm talking about the Dynamic Tower Hotel at 1,378 feet tall, with its 80 floors that will be able to rotate independently of each other. Residents would be able to control how much their rooms move, making the issue of picking the room with the perfect view a thing of the past. Imagine adjusting your room to evade the sunrise in the morning, and then adjusting it back to catch the sunset in the evening. In addition, there are wind turbines between each floor and a solar array on the roof. This means that the building and everything required to make it rotate would be completely self-powered. The Dynamic Tower has been talked about since 2008 and has yet to even be started. But this concept is one that is so innovative and thoughtful, it's hard to imagine someone wouldn't make this design a reality somewhere, someday. Selfridges Building. The Selfridges Building in Birmingham is actually already built, but takes advantage of a very unique concept that I think will be heavily utilized by businesses in the future. Selfridges is a luxury department store in the UK with 4 locations, but the one in Birmingham's exterior was inspired by a 1960s dress, and the shape represents the silhouette of a woman. This store's architecture is essentially communicating its brand to those who walk past it. In the digital age, where physical shopping stores are fighting a losing battle against online shopping, architectural concepts like this are expected to become more and more common. Since moving into the $90 million venue in 2003, the department store has surpassed the sales of other stores in the area, making the risky design choice a smart decision. Putting the 15,000 aluminum discs on the building was controversial at first, but the publicity they gained from it was critical in making everything a success for the store. Hopefully, other brands take note. Ordeo Solar Furnace. Our next building is a facility that uses a special technique that future cities can use for their clean energy needs. The Ordeo Solar Furnace in France is on the surface just a facility that tests the effects of heat on various materials. It's 177 feet high and 157 feet wide, and is covered in 9,600 reflecting mirrors that reflect the sun's rays into a second set of mirrors which reflect the beams to a small circular target on the central tower. Within seconds, a temperature of 6,330 degrees Fahrenheit can be achieved, which is equivalent to 3,200 kilowatts of power, without producing any pollution at all. And that's what is special about the facility. This facility helped develop architectural techniques that can be incorporated for power facilities and self-sufficient buildings alike, and can transform the power needs for cities around the world. Green structures. One huge problem facing the skyscraper designers of today is the question of what materials to use. Then there's the ethical dilemma of creating structures with such large environmental footprints. We're at a critical juncture when it comes to protecting our planet, where the construction industry is at the core of the issue and therefore the only solution. Recently, there have been discussions on how to make buildings more environmentally conscious, from design and construction to their operation once complete. This trend is something that will become increasingly important as we head into the future. The aim for green structures is to make them completely self-sufficient by using various methods like improving the designs of ventilation systems, using energy-efficient lighting, and landscaping with local plant species to save habitats for wildlife. It's also important to use non-toxic chemicals in construction and use locally sourced stone and wood to reduce the need for long-distance transportation. Future architectural techniques will also find ways to incorporate solar and wind energy into building designs so as to not compromise the aesthetics while maximizing the potential for these energy sources. It's also been discovered that large structures affect the airflow in busy areas, and so covering these buildings in living vegetation would keep the air clean and provide habitats for insects and other vital animals. And so, ideally, the future will involve continuing the creation of large structures while having as little impact on the environment as possible. The invisible tower. There's always that crowd of people who complain that new skyscrapers ruin the view or add unnecessary clutter to the skyline. But what if there was a way to build new buildings that make them invisible? Okay, hear me out. The first ever invisible tower is being built in South Korea near the Incheon Airport in Seoul, and it is called the Tower Infinity. It will be 1,476 feet tall and have the world's third highest observation deck. It will also have a roller coaster, movie theater, and water park for tourists and visitors. But you may not know the building is there until you're standing at the entrance because it's invisible. But how? The tower will be covered in high-tech LEDs with cameras mounted around it to project real-time images onto the panels in Ultra HD. Remember those drones from Spider-Man Far From Home? Yeah, it's something like that. This is quite a futuristic design and is simply amazing, but I would be concerned with an invisible building being placed near an airport, but maybe that's just me. If you have any updates on this specific project, let me know in the comments because this is one project I'm genuinely interested in. In addition, what do you think about all these future building types in general? Let me know that in the comments below as well. I have plenty more videos for you to binge watch, so click that video on the screen to watch something you haven't seen. And thanks for visiting Built a Billion.